Hey everybody, how are you doing? This is Kirsten here, and thank you so much for joining me today. This is a new episode of A Better Way with Kirsten podcast. This is episode number 363. Yes, there has been quite a few episodes already, and thank you so much for coming back every week and joining me. As you know, on this podcast, I'm talking about chronic pain and chronic sensations, and I'm talking about those chronic pains and sensations that don't have a clear physical cause. These pains and other chronic problems are coming from your dysregulated nervous system and your brain. And that's why going to doctors is probably not going to help if they're always looking for something physical. Because in most of these cases, there is no problem physically, but like I said, there is a misunderstanding in your brain, or there is this dysregulation in your nervous system, and you have to deal with these underlying causes. What are the things that are causing your nervous system to get so dysregulated? What are the reasons why you are stuck in certain nervous system states, like you are always frozen, or you are always hyper activated, always anxious? What are the reasons there? And one of the things could be that you have certain emotions that you haven't dealt with. And you may have noticed that I talk quite a bit about emotions, and the reason is that I have seen, like on my own recovery, how important it really was to start looking at my emotions, becoming more expressive. And together with that, and this is what we're going to dive into today, is what kind of personality traits do I have that are very related to these emotions that are actually keeping these chronic sensations around. Maybe you cannot say no, maybe you're a people pleaser. If you have listened to a few episodes already, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And today I want to continue a little bit on this topic and talk about one thing specifically, and that is this. You might be saying that somebody's always making me angry, right? This person, he or she, a friend, is always making me angry. And you might be saying, like, it's not my fault that I'm so angry and I have now all this chronic pain, but this other person is just making me angry all the time. And what I want to suggest here is that maybe it's time for you to check your own boundaries and see how the lack of your boundaries is actually contributing to the situation where you're constantly, chronically feeling angry. The same can be true if you feel like I'm always being taken advantage of, or I'm always the one who's giving more than the other person, or they don't respect me. If you find yourself thinking this way often, today's episode is exactly what you need to know. And I really want you to check out my course, Emotionally Fit 2. This is so valuable if these are some of the things that you are dealing with. You're going to learn from this course how emotions are really contributing very heavily to your chronic sensations, how your personality traits are contributing to your chronic sensations. And of course, I'm not going to tell you the hows and whys. I'm also showing you how to get better, what are the tips and solutions so that you can start moving out of those stuck emotions, and that you can become more expressive, and that you can, of course, together with that, starting to get relief from your chronic pain as well. Instead of saying, this person makes me so angry and I can't do anything about it, take a look at how you might be contributing to this dynamic. And this might sound like tough love, and maybe it is, but you need to hear this. It's always easier to say that others do things to us. And sure, sometimes it is true. There are some people who can be maybe like intentionally pushing our buttons. Yes, it can absolutely happen. But it's also easy to forget that sometimes we just lack the strength and courage to stand up for ourselves and set boundaries. And then we get angry when our time or our generosity isn't respected. We might be thinking, does the other person not understand that it's not okay to ask so much of me? Does the other person not understand that it's not okay to call me several times a day? Does the other person not understand that they're only dumping all their emotional stuff on me and never ask how I am feeling? You might be thinking the other person should see that, right? They should see this, but sometimes people just don't. They don't understand that what they're asking is just too much, and they don't realize. We just assume that they should understand, but they don't. Here's an example. Somebody dumps all your emotional dramas on you. And you get a lot of messages from them every day, and you talk on the phone every day because you are a good friend and you want to help them out because you are a good person. So you listen and you support and you help. And you think, okay, maybe there won't be any more calls, or maybe now the texts are going to slow down. But what if it doesn't? What if it won't stop? And what if there will be more dramas? And so it continues, right? There's going to be more dramas and more stories and more worries and more need for your support and more need for your validation and more need from you to hear that, no, you did everything right. And you find yourself like you're helping, supporting, listening all the time, and you are getting drained by it. And still, you cannot say no. You can't say that this is too many messages. You cannot say that, you never ask how I am doing. You just can't say any of it because you are identifying so strongly with this really good girl personality, or the person who does everything for everybody. So you just cannot say no. And is it any wonder then that eventually you get angry? Why? Because you don't actually want to give so much of yourself. You're actually getting tired of it. There is no energy or time left for yourself. Maybe you already have a lot going on. And you know this when this person, let's say, reaches out again, and you notice internally, like in your body, you're like, ooh, right? You notice something like you don't want to, or you feel like you want to run, or you feel like you have some kind of bodily reaction. You do when you pay attention. It doesn't mean that you automatically gonna like go and just punch or like hit something. It doesn't have to be this way. But pay attention to how you feel. Pay attention to your body. If something has been going on for a while and now there's like another message or another story or drama that you are listening to, notice what your body is saying. And it's probably saying that, hey, we're getting freaking angry at this thing. And you might be thinking that this is wrong. I shouldn't be angry. I shouldn't get angry. This is no good. This is not okay. I have to hide it. But when you do that, your body starts talking to you louder and louder and louder. And your chronic sensations begin, or if they're already there, they go up. And why is it that you are pushing down your anger? Well, a lot of these things come from childhood. If you only saw an unhealthy expression of anger, then now you are afraid of it. You're like, I can't show this. This is bad. Maybe you've seen things turn into like violence or abuse or something. You're like, oh my goodness, this is so terrible. I just can't do this. Anger is not okay. And this is how you learned that anger is bad. I have to push it down and not speak up for myself if something makes me angry. I just can't do this, right? But instead of seeing anger as a bad emotion, I really want you to look at it from a totally different perspective. And I think this is so, so helpful. And this totally different perspective is this. Your anger can teach you something if you pay attention. This anger can teach you that something isn't working for you and that you may have to change the way you show up for yourself and relationship with others. How is that? Well, let's go back to this previous example. What does your anger teach you in this situation? It teaches you when you get these sensations that, oh, I don't want to get another message, or I don't want to talk to this person. I'm tired of listening to these stories. And you get angry. This anger teaches you that you are being too available. You are giving too much of yourself. You're getting too carried away trying to help others, and you are forgetting about yourself. You're doing all this stuff at the expense of your own health and well-being. Instead of saying that somebody is always making you angry and it's all their fault, try to see your anger as an opportunity to notice what is it that doesn't work. Okay? So ask yourself, what in this situation doesn't work for me? And the answer is probably pretty clear in this situation. What doesn't work for me is being so available, giving so much, being there for others all the time. Of course, you want to be a good friend, you want to be kind and caring, but sometimes too much is too much. What other things might anger tell you? It might tell you that you need to create stronger boundaries. It might also tell you that, yes, you said that you have these boundaries, but do you just say that you have them, or do you actually stick to them? Or do you change your mind and say, no, it's actually okay. Like, I'm here for 3 more hours if you need me to. Okay. Are you identifying with the good, kind, and nice personality too much at the expense of your well being? So these are the things that I want you to think about. What is me getting angry trying to teach me about this situation? Have I been taking something for too long? Do I need something really drastically to change? Have I been forcing my own wants and needs down? Is this what anger is trying to teach me? Because it does have a protective mechanism. Anger is trying to protect you from something. It shows you that this is not okay here. We got to change something, right? And many people with chronic pain or other chronic health problems take on the good person identity so strongly that it literally starts hurting them. And then they go to doctors and chiropractors and physical therapists and trying to fix something that actually comes from their personality and their unexpressed emotions, their inability to set boundaries. But no chiropractor or doctor can fix this thing. This has to come from you, from inside of you. And if you feel like, yes, I know that when I'm doing all these things, when I am constantly angry, like this is becoming a chronic thing, I'm getting more and more tight and more tense. My chronic sensations go up. And I have felt this so much myself too. I've had so many occasions where I take on too much of other people's things and their emotions and try to be there for them and support them any way I can. And then it's so gradual, like it just sneaks in, like you're just are not even seeing sometimes how you get into this mode of like constant helping, constant supporting, until you feel like, oh, my back is totally locked up now. I've had it so many times. And your back might get tighter, or your neck might get more sore, or your digestive problems might go up. Like something starts to happen. So it's like, wake up. What are you doing? What are you doing? And look at the relationships with others or other situations where you are pushing yourself down. In a way, chronic sensations are actually cool. Well, this is another mindset shift here. So the first one was, instead of like hating on anger, why you're here, get curious about what are you trying to teach me? That was the first mindset shift. And the second thing is here. Your chronic sensations going up is just a sign that you are too stressed. Somehow you are too stressed. And it can come, like I said, from relationships, from friendships. For me, it was a lot related to work. I just didn't realize like where I was going too far with it when I did nothing else anymore other than just like work, super late hours, always worrying, thinking what to do next, how to create next. Always been in this mindset. That was just too much stress. So these chronic sensations can actually be very good, almost like a thermometer that shows like we're going up or we're going down. Where are we going, right? Where are we moving? And now is a time for you to check in with yourself before things go to red and you're like, oh crap, now I'm in so much pain. And then you start thinking back, you're like, oh yeah, I haven't taken care of myself at all. I haven't given what I need at all. I have only taken care of others or taken on their emotions and not able to distance myself from it, not able to leave some messages unread, not able to like text back the next day. Like you always think you have to do everything right now for everybody else. And so now your body starts talking to you like, hey, what's going on? There's so much tension. It just shows you that you are way too stressed. So when you get angry, when you feel like you're always angry or somebody's making you angry, don't force this anger away. Don't shame yourself for being a bad person because you experience anger. Like anger is so normal. Instead, get curious and listen to your anger and what it wants to tell you and what's the lesson that it wants you to learn. And you probably need to change something, so pay attention to that. So this is all I have for you today. Once again, I recommend that you check out my course, Emotionally Fit, if this topic resonated with you, because we go deep into this course, into this topic. We also discuss fear, anger, anxiety, which is of course a big one, sadness, and shame. Shame is one of my favorite chapters in this course. And in the updated version, which I updated this fall, we also have a lot more somatic practices. So if you have been enjoying these in the past couple of episodes on this podcast, then I have added somatic practices for these emotions as well. Things that help you to calm down, get to your balanced state quicker. And of course, you're always going to have to use the mindset tools too, but these somatic tools can really help you pretty much instant relief. And I have shared a couple of them in my Instagram too, and I've been getting messages from people that they are so fantastic. They feel so much more and kind of calm and balanced and relaxed after doing these exercises. So these are also now part of the Emotionally Fit course. So if you want to learn more about the course, check out the link in my show notes. And thank you so much for listening and being here today. I'll talk to you again very soon. Take care.